Well, I'm so sad to say that next Sunday when you come to church, all of these beautiful Christmas decorations are going to be gone. Our beautiful manger is going to be put away again for another year. Because this week, you see, is the last week of Christmas. Friday is the 12th and final day of Christmas. Now, I know some people think that the 12 days of Christmas that we sing about are the 12 days prior to Christmas, but they're actually not. The 12 days of Christmas are the 12 days from Christmas to Epiphany, which is this Friday, January 6th. And on the Epiphany, we celebrate the Magi, or the three wise men. We put our focus on their following that star of wonder and being guided by it to the location of the Christ. Now, you may remember that 2 years ago, during this time, during the winter solstice, there was another incredible thing that happened in the sky. Jupiter and Saturn, our two largest planets in our solar system, they aligned to form what many were calling the Christmas star, something that hadn't appeared since the Middle Ages. So maybe the Magi experienced something similar to that on the very first Epiphany. Now, the word Epiphany comes from a Greek word which means to reveal. When we have epiphanies in our lives, I'm sure all of you have had them. Those are the moments where God, the divine, is revealing itself to us in new and powerful ways. Now, as we heard in our words of integration and guidance this morning from our friend, Reverend Kay Glennon, the story of the Magi really should be read more like a parable rather than a historical incident. It's a highly symbolic story. It's not really about the Magi and the baby Jesus. It's really about us discovering the location of the Christ. The story of the Epiphany is our story. It's the story of our spiritual journey. Now, this story of the Magi is only told to us in this one paragraph that I just read for you from Matthew's Gospel. That's it. They appear nowhere else in Scripture, so we don't really know a lot about who they were. But notice the writer of Matthew's Gospel says they were wise men from the east. He never said they were kings, and he never said there were three of them. So I'm not really sure where we got that idea that they were three kings. I think it's probably in that Christmas carol that we sing, "We Three Kings." But that's nowhere to be found in the Gospels. The writer of Matthew's Gospel tells us they were wise men, which means they were people who possessed wisdom. Now, I've told you before, wisdom and knowledge are two different things. There are people who possess knowledge, which means they know a lot of stuff. People who possess wisdom have a deeper knowing, an inner knowing, an intimate knowing. That's who the Magi were. The word Magi comes from the same word as our word magic. The Magi were magicians, if you will, but not the way we understand magicians today. Because magicians today are trying to fool us with trickery and with sleight of hand. But really, the word magic, it has its roots in the word mystic. That's really who the Magi were. They were mystics. And mystics aren't trying to fool us. Mystics are trying to reveal to us truth, the truth of our being. So the Magi were truth tellers. They were able to read the stars, Maybe they were shamans or clairvoyants. But they were people of great vision and great inner knowing. And the thing that I love best about the story is that they're from the East. That means they came from different countries. They spoke a different language. They practiced different religions. And yet God chose them to discover the location of the light. What that means to me is that the light of the Christ didn't just come for Christians. The light has come for all people. And what the Epiphany is about, it's not about the birth of the Christ light in a baby 2,000 years ago. It's about the birth of the light within you, recognizing that light. And if you allow yourself to follow that light and allow it to guide you, you too will learn the location of the Christ. Again, as we sang in that beautiful poem from Howard Thurman, if you follow and know, you'll learn the mystery of what you are meant to do and be. When we keep our eyes focused on the light, when we allow that power and presence of the cosmos to guide us, our intuition, we will be transformed and healed. And that is what those gifts that the Magi brought symbolize: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Now, I've shared with you before about alchemy. Alchemists take base metals, and through the power of fire, they turn them into precious metals like gold. Then there's frankincense. Frankincense is an incense that our Eastern brothers and sisters use in their spiritual practice. The purpose of incense is to expand, awaken your senses to the spiritual realm. And then there's myrrh. Myrrh comes from nature. It's a tree resin that is made into a balm that's used for healing. Those three gifts symbolize that when we follow the light, we will experience transformation, illumination, and healing. Again, it's not about the baby. It's about you. It's about putting your focus on the light that Jesus said is within you and allowing that light to shine for all the world to see. Now, there's one person in this story I haven't spoken about yet, and that's King Herod. King Herod symbolizes the ego. King Herod was a man of great wealth who liked to brag about his wealth, and he liked to build big palaces with his name on it. Okay, that's who he was. Herod symbolizes our ego. When we put our focus on the ego, we are pulled away from our light. The Herods of the world want to extinguish the light because the light is a threat to their power. And the same is true for us with our ego. Our ego doesn't want us to discover the light that is within us. Because if we discover that light and allow that to guide us rather than our ego, then the ego doesn't have a purpose anymore. Notice what happens. The Magi, when they discover the Christ light, they don't return to Herod. It says they went back by another road. My friends, when you discover the light of the Christ within you, you won't return to Herod. You will follow another way, another road, the way of the Lord. And so as we finish up this time of Christmas, let us put our focus on the Christ light. And in this new year, let us intentionally allow ourselves to be guided by it. And let us, the people of Douglas UCC, keep our eyes open, pay attention for all of the many epiphanies, great and small, that God has in store for us in 2023. Happy New Year. Namaste. Hello, everybody. This is Sal Sapienza, and I'm so excited to share with all of you that I've written a brand new book. The book is called Childish Thinking: How the Church Keeps Us Stuck in Sunday School. Now, the title Childish Thinking comes from Christian scripture, where we hear that if we wish to grow in spiritual understanding, then we must let go of childish ways of thinking. And yet so many Christians today, even after years of Bible study and Sunday services, still have a very elementary understanding of their faith. They still understand God as some old man with a long gray beard. They think heaven is a place up in the clouds with pearly gates, that the devil is some red guy with horns and a pitchfork, and that hell is a fiery place below the earth. Those are things that we tell children. None of those descriptions appear anywhere in the Bible. And so in Childish Thinking, I try to dispel many of those misnomers, and I explore topics such as God, Jesus, heaven, hell, sin, prayer, and resurrection from the higher perspectives of ancient Christian mystics and contemporary progressive theologians. After each chapter, there are prayers for quiet contemplation and questions for personal reflection and journal writing. Come learn how you can let go of old ways of thinking and begin to see things with new eyes. Come and learn how you can finally graduate from Sunday school. The book is available now on Amazon, and you can read the entire introduction at childishthinking.faith.